There is a fight everybody quotes when this matchup comes up. Odin and Zeus, face to face. The All-Father proposing to erase the earth and the King of Olympus refusing to let him. It doesn't exist. That scene is 2 cameos on page 8 of a flashback. No blows, no words between them, nothing settled. 60 years of comics, 2 kings of 2 pantheons, and they have never once fought. Which turns out to be the most useful thing about them, because they have shared a room. Repeatedly, and every single time, something arrived that could end every god on earth. That is the version of this question worth asking. Not who hits harder, we will get to that, and the answer is less obvious than you think. The question is what happens when 2 beings of genuinely comparable power are in the same emergency, and one of them has to decide. Marvel's Odin, Marvel's Zeus, not the myths, not the other publishers. And before anyone arrives with the Iliad, this is the comics, and the comics are stranger. Odin holds the Odinforce, and when he first took it whole, the description was that the energy shook the foundations of the cosmos. Here is what he has done with it. He drew on the electromagnetic particles of the cosmos to imprison Surtur. He tore the 10th realm off the world tree and sealed it inside a prison the size of a universe. He forged the Odin sword, and the stated capability of that weapon is that it can rend infinity. When he fought Seth, the shockwave crossed every plane of reality. But the number that matters is not on that list, and I want to be honest about that up front. Odin's sealing is spectacular, and Odin's sealing is not what wins him this. Keep the Odin sword in mind and keep it in the sheath, because it is not going to come up again. Now Zeus, and here is where most of these videos get lazy. Thanos, wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, sorted the beings around him. He put Zeus at the same level as Galactus, and at the same level as Odin. That is not a fan reading. That is the assessment of the one person in the room holding the instrument that measures such things. The showings back it. During Chaos War, Zeus takes Thor down with a single thunderbolt. 1. The closest available comparison to Odin's raw output, the son who inherited the storm, goes down in 1 hit. He has beaten the Hulk. His energy output is described as matching Odin's, matching Galactus's, or unmaking galaxies. So no, this is not a video where the big one wins because he is the big one. On paper, these 2 are the same size, which the sheet shows better than I can say it. Output contested, and I mean genuinely contested, with an Infinity Gauntlet on the scale. Durability, longevity, authority, both of them are the top of a pantheon that has survived everything the universe has thrown at it. There is one line where they separate, and it is not a power at all. 3 times, the gods of Earth faced something that could kill all of them. The first time, the Celestials' 3rd host arrived and threatened to seal the passages between the god realms and Earth forever. It was Odin who contacted Zeus. The 2 of them convened every ruling god of every pantheon on the planet. And then Odin, Zeus, and Vishnu went out to meet them. They agreed to the Celestials' terms. And while they were agreeing, Odin was already building the plan for the 4th host, which would not arrive for another 1,000 years. 1,000 years later it did. Odin forged the Rheingold into the Oversword of Asgard, put his own spirit inside the Destroyer, and fought the Celestials with it. The Destroyer was annihilated. The plan wasn't. Gaia presented the young gods and Earth was spared. And when the Demigorge came for the pantheons, it was Odin who called on every god on Earth to send a champion. 3 emergencies. 3 times the plan was Odin's, and the agreement was Zeus's. Nobody ever fought about it. Nobody ever had to. To put them on empty ground with no realm to defend and nobody to send. Zeus opens, and Zeus opens well, because that is what the record says he does. The thunderbolt that dropped Thor in a single hit is the same thunderbolt, and Odin is not immune to it. This is not a fight Odin walks through. There is a real stretch of it where the King of Olympus is winning, and anyone telling you otherwise is scaling from reputation instead of from panels. And then it goes long, because that is the only thing the 2 of them have never had between them, time. Every shared crisis in their history is Zeus meeting the thing in front of him, and Odin already working on the thing after it. Give Odin the length of a real fight, and you have given him the one resource his entire record says he uses better than anyone alive. He does not need the Odin sword. I told you it wouldn't come up. Odin wins, and I want to be precise about what that sentence means, because the easy version is wrong. It does not mean Odin is stronger. Thanos held the Infinity Gauntlet and rated them the same, and I am not overruling that with a vibe. It does not mean Zeus is a lesser god. Zeus put Thor on the floor with one thunderbolt, and Odin would have to survive that same opening. It means the comics already answered this and never needed a fight to do it. 3 times the world was ending, 3 times both of them were in the room, and 3 times the room turned to the same one of them. Not because he could take Zeus, because he was already thinking about the 1,000 years after the emergency, and Zeus was thinking about the emergency. Look at how they die, and you get the same answer twice. Zeus sees the Chaos King coming, gathers every pantheon that will answer, puts himself at the front of the line, and dies in the opening move of somebody else's story. Olympus falls with him. Odin walks into Surtur knowing exactly how it ends, because he has already put Thor on Midgard, and that single placement breaks the cycle that had been killing Asgard over and over forever. He loses the fight. The plan holds. That is not a power gap. That is a difference in what each of them is for. And in a fight long enough to matter, it is the only difference that decides anything. One honest note to close on. The Infinity Gauntlet reading is real, and it cuts against me. And if you want to argue that a being who can drop Thor in one hit ends this before Odin's patience ever becomes relevant, that is a good argument, and I would like to read it. Every feed in this video is from the source material. If you think a scaling call is wrong, say which issue.